you want and all you'll never be. Number two, not an option, take a seat.
Let's get that again. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Rickle Me Pick Live, the home of all Rick and Morty. As you can see behind me, got all the homies with me today. Man, I haven't been in this setting in a long fucking time, man. Like since the middle of last season. So season 7, I had stopped. You know what I'm saying? I stopped recording for a little bit. Did my thing, but you know what I mean? We are back. Rick and Morty is back. We got a brand new season. We just finished episode 2 on Sunday. Man, I am glad to be back, man. This is right here where we at, man. This is what I love to do. Talking about something I love to do. That's why it's never gonna go nowhere. You know what I mean? Been keeping up with the Rick and Morty community, been keeping up with the Rick and Morty news. You know what I mean? Fans come and go, but the real hardcore Rick and Morty loyal fans, man, they always gonna be here. So, like I said, welcome everybody to another episode of Rickle Me Pick. I am your host NR, and like I said, man, hey, it's just good to be back. You know what I mean? Let me brighten this up a little bit. Get some more light up in this piece. But yeah, man, good to be back, baby. Season 8 is among us. Rick and Morty season 8. 2 weeks ago, I believe that would be the 29th. Pull up that date. Nope. The 25th. So May 25th is when Rick and Morty season 8 kicked off. We had episode 1, which is actually the 72nd episode of this series. So season 8, episode 1, Summer of All Fears is what they call it, is the 72nd episode of Rick and Morty. I can't believe we already at 72, man. You know what I mean? By the time we hit season 9, the end of season 9, maybe in the middle of season 10, we'll be at that 100 episode mark, man. So episode 72, which is season 8, episode 1, Summer of All Fears. This was basically, man, like, you know what I mean? The jump off to the new era of Rick and Morty. The reason I say that is, yes, last season, season 7, you know, Justin Roiland stepped away, and you know what I mean? The voice actors, they had to get used to becoming Rick and Morty. And I think in this season 8, man, you know what I mean? I think it's finally molded, and we just got a different feel to the fucking season. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a different feel to the season. The first episode, Summer of All Fears, is more of a conscious episode, I would say. You know what I mean? We start off, we see Rick and Morty. They're kind of in this weird reality. You know what I mean? We don't know really what it is. Come to find out, they're in some type of matrix that Rick put them in. And bottom line is, Rick don't like his shit touched, man. You know what I mean? We all know this. Every fan knows this. And Rick don't like none of his shit touched, man. So he threw him basically into this dimension, as you can see Summer here. And, you know, they've been in this dimension, this matrix, as we're calling it, for 17 years. As you can see on the wall, everything is about chargers. Exactly what it sounds like, your phone charger. The whole episode is about don't touch my shit. And it's funny to me because, you know, I live in a house with 5 fucking people, and my phone charger is always missing. So I was just rolling through this whole episode because, you know what I mean? Summer takes over. She's this engineer, you know what I mean? And she's trying to create a way to get out of this matrix. Morty, he's gone into this like OIF, you know what I'm saying? Operation Enduring Freedom type mentality. You know what I mean? He's stuck in this matrix. He went to jail, got out of jail, became a firefighter. And then as we'll see, you know what I mean? They had their 9/11 They had Osama been charging. You know what I mean? It's so Morty had the whole war aspect going on. This shit was fucking dope. As you can see here, this is them getting ready to leave out of the Matrix. Summer finally created her software and her engineering, you know what I'm saying, device to get them out of the Matrix, which they finally do. And Rick forgot about him. You know what I'm saying? As you can see here, they're stuck to the machine. Rick just woke up from a nap. He don't give a fuck. He just, you know what I'm saying? He just woke up, don't even give a fuck what's going on. You know what I mean? What we at? Let's see. So as the episode continues, man, like I said, you know, we get some glimpses of Morty inside the Matrix. Morty over here getting tatted down, like I said, he was. The kids were pissed off, obviously. Right here in Rick's hands, he has the Morty mind blower device. For all my fucking, you know what I'm saying, diehard fans, that is the first time we're seeing Morty's mind blowers since the episode of Morty Mind Blowers. For those that don't know, these are basically like capsules, you know what I'm saying? That anytime something happens, Rick will fucking zap their head and it'll erase that memory, but it'll hold it into a little capsule that he can go back later on and show him, like, hey, you were fucking up. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, so, you know, Morty became this veteran. Summer's the software engineer. Come to find out, Summer made Morty's life the way it was inside the Matrix because she needed to use him as a soldier. As we could see here, you know what I mean? Morty was on the front lines. You know what I'm saying? That's his homie CJ. You know, you see Morty here killing Osama bin Charging, you know, right after the fucking, you know what I'm saying, the battle went down and shit. They got out of the Matrix. And basically, man, long story short, in this very first episode, like I said, it's a conscious episode, right? So you get your people, man. You know what I'm saying? Fucking what up, baby boy? The GOAT right there, you know what I'm saying? So basically, man, this whole first episode was, like I said, they get stuck in this Matrix. You know what I'm saying? They do their thing. Morty has his story. Summer has her story. They end up getting out of the Matrix just to find out the whole shit was bullshit. However, they left themselves hints and clues of what they were. So, for instance, before Rick erased their minds, Morty got his tattoo. You know what I'm saying? As you can see, it's the same tattoo he got right here on this scene of a fucking charger to remember him and his homies and shit. Basically, like, you know, us former military men, you know, we got several tattoos to remember our homies by, things like that. And then Summer, she made herself a selfie. So when she came back to reality, I believe I have the video. So when she came back to reality, you know what I mean? Like, she gave herself like a conscious, damn, I don't even have the video. I thought I did. So she gave herself like a conscious reality video, you know what I'm saying? And basically, you know, she was telling herself like, hey, look, you know, nobody's going to take you serious and shit like that, but, you know, take yourself serious. But, you know, if you're talking to a teenage girl, you know what I mean? Like, during those 17 years in the Matrix, Summer got married. She had a family. She ran a business. So when she came back, she went to high school, didn't like it. You know what I mean? Fucking, she was trying to do all this, you know what I mean? Mature type shit. She got fucking Zen out. I mean, took Beth out to Santa Fe to do yoga, shit like that. And then, so here's the scene right here.
Yo, Trisha, what are we having tonight, bitch?
That's, you know what I'm saying? That's a typical teenager. You try to give them a life lesson, and then they're like, yeah, whatever, man. Fuck that shit. And then they throw that shit off, and, you know, it's back to party. So that's basically how episode 1 went. We have the post-credit scene where it shows fucking Beth getting her Zen on in Santa Fe. And come to find out, all the middle-aged women there are vampires. And they feed off the young to maintain as middle-aged women, you know what I mean? So Beth has to kill them. Then makes fun of them because, you know what I mean, there's vampires, and they pick the sunniest place, which is Santa Fe, the Southwest, you know what I mean, the setup location. So that was the end of episode 1, man. It was a good episode, good way, you know what I'm saying? Easy transition to start off the season. You know what I mean? I liked it. A lot of fans liked it. But now we transition to episode 2. Episode 2 is what we just had this Sunday. And out of the 2 episodes so far, episode 2 is, you know what I'm saying, hands down my favorite one. I mean, it's a 50-50 chance right now, you know what I mean? But still, hands down, episode 2 it has got my vote as of now. So this episode is called Volcrick. You know, a joke off the movie Volcry. And you know, this one starts off, we have Space Beth. All right. Space Beth, as we see in the beginning of this episode, she's still working with the Defiance. I believe I have a picture. Boom. So we see Space Beth, you know what I mean? Here she is. She's still working with the Defiance. The Defiance is still working away to take over the Federation, you know what I'm saying? Eliminate the Gronflamites, things of that nature. You know what I mean? So during that meeting, what they're supposed to be doing is talking about an assassination. You know what I'm saying? They're supposed to send their assassin, who is Space Beth, onto this mission to kill the Gronflamite Queen. Well, you know what I'm saying? Beth doesn't really, Space Beth, you know what I'm saying? Not to get the two confused, but we all know Space Beth doesn't really take orders well. What a fucking shocker, you know what I'm saying? Being that she is the daughter or clone daughter of motherfucking Rick, you know what I mean?
You sons of bitches! What's the job?
So that's what Beth is out there doing, you know what I mean? She's on her own solo mission. They end up contacting her like, yo, you're fucking up. Like, we in the meeting for the assassination, and you already out there trying to do the assassination. You know what I mean? And once she gets there, she realized, boom, the queen's already been assassinated. And now Beth is sitting there stuck, don't know what the fuck's going on. So the Defiance ain't gonna bail her out. You know what I mean? They're like, nah, you want an unassigned mission. You went on your own, so you know you on your own. So what else does she have to do? Call old dad. You know what I mean? So Rick comes to the rescue. He comes in. As he came in, you know what I mean? Beth is right there. Space Beth is right there with a couple Gronflamites. They don't even acknowledge her. They're like, oh shit, there's Rick. And Rick's like eating like a sandwich. Oh no, he was eating sushi. Because he was at his famous sushi restaurant, you know what I mean, that he has inside of his basement, which is also the same sushi restaurant we seen in last season in Rick Miss Mortification. You know what I'm saying? And what he say? Like the sushi restaurant was like, we got voted number 1 in the basement. And Rick made a comment. He's like, oh, snap, you beat out Luigi's Pizza, which is what Rick was eating all the time in the beginning seasons. Oh, excuse me. So we get onto the, you know what I'm saying? So you know, Rick portals to fucking, you know what I mean, wherever Beth is in a Gronflamite location. You know what I mean? They get into it with a couple Gronflamites. We see Rick has a couple updated weapons. He has a diarrhea fucking. This scene was actually pretty funny because before that, he uses a quicksand machine, which is here. So we see the quicksand machine, and Space Beth makes a comment. She was like, your weapons have signs now? And he was just like, yeah, that's just so, you know, for context, because so people don't get confused and start making up shit. As I say that because that's what, you know what I'm saying, all these crazy ass fans do. Oh no, Rick did this, or he can't do this. First of all, it's a fucking cartoon, okay? Let's get that straight. First of all, it's a fucking cartoon. Second of all, the joke is because that's why they did it. Because if you watch the rest of the scene, he was like, oh, on the back, he was like, well, isn't that going to tell the enemy is quicksand? He's like, nah, on the back, there's a sign that says ordinary sand. You know what I mean? So it's just a play, you know what I mean, on critics, on fans, you know what I'm saying, that have to judge every single little detail. You know what I mean? So he was like, yeah, you know, I made it like that so they can't think it's like diarrhea or mud or something. And then the very next scene, he hits him with a diarrhea gun. You know, so it's just, you know what I mean? That's just creative fucking thinking on the writers, and you know what I'm saying, when they came up with the dialogue. It just goes to show, you know, they listen, they follow, they know what's going on in the Rick and Morty community, you know what I mean, to add these little jokes and add these little sidebars inside the fucking inside of the dialogue and inside of the script, man. So, you know what I mean? As the episode goes on, man, like I said, you know what I mean? The whole episode is trying to find out who assassinated the queen. Come to find out, it was an inside job. One of her doctors was making like superhuman Gronflamites. I always forget, fuck this up. Ultramflamites is what they were. So basically, you know what I mean? They did the whole knock on Marvel as Rick and Morty always does. and they had Gronflemines turning into super soldiers, basically. You know, as you can see here, he's inhaling it and then turns into a super soldier. So that's you know the whole concept of the episode. You know what I mean? Bird Person comes out in the episode with his daughter. He makes an appearance. Who, mind you, Bird Daughter, totally fucking awesome. Bird Daughter is probably hands down the most savage motherfucker in this entire show. As you can see here, you know what I mean? She just straight fucking Gronflemites up because, you know what I mean? That's what Bird Daughter does. And in the words of Bird Person, she gets it from her mother. But don't let me tell you, let Bird Person tell you.
She gets it from her mother.
So, like I said, man, you heard it from Bird Person himself, man. She gets it from her mother. We all know, fans know, Bird Daughter's mother is none other than Tammy, who used to be, you know what I mean, an agent for the Federation, who worked with Gronflemites, also killed Gronflemites, and her number one nemesis was Rick and the Defiance. So, you know what I mean? There's that play there. We get to the end of the episode, man, and you know what I mean? The Defiance and, well, I don't know necessarily the Defiance, but Rick, no, it was the Defiance and the Gronflemites. So the Defiance and the Federation, you know what I'm saying? They make a truce. They, you know what I mean? They create a pact because during the whole battle, Rick, Space Beth, and the general of the Gronflemites, you know, they make a truce. You know, there's funny puns and jokes. How he's the Slimer, intending to, you know, Ghostbusters, and the unusual collaboration of enemy and good guy. So, you know what I mean? Here we have the Defiance and Rick and Morty, or Defiance and the Federation creating a truce. You know, they have a whole ceremony for it, which is right here. So here we have the general speaking about how this great action happened, and we're all thankful for it, and we hope it never happens again because we don't ever want to work with each other again. As you can see, the Defiance in the back with Rick. You know what I mean? The Federation in the front. It looks like they have a new queen right there to the side of the general. So the only one I would say wasn't too happy about that whole situation was Space Beth. And for good reason.
Rick, pretty cool to see you working with your daughter. Pretty hot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Please don't my coworkers.
Hey, you called me.
You called me, baby. You know what I'm saying? You needed my help. They called me, as Martin would say. You know what I mean? So we've had a good start to the season, man. Now, it ain't over yet. We got to get to the funniest fucking part of this entire episode. So, in the middle of this episode, right, there is a time where right before they go to war and Rick and Space Beth have to fucking take on the entire Federation, as we could see right here. You know what I mean? The whole plan goes to shit. Rick and Space Beth have to take on the entire Federation. They end up having to kill the fucking robot queen and a couple Otronflemites in front of like the entire fucking galaxy of Gronflemites. And this all happened because of one reason. Okay. And if you haven't seen the episode, like, if you think everything I said was an Easter egg, change it fucking now. But so this is the funniest part of the entire fucking episode, right? So, as we all know, eight seasons now, Rick Sanchez trusts nobody. He has a very select few of people he trusts, with Bird Person probably being the top of that list, right? Or Bird Person. Shouts out to you, Bird Person. Bam, baby. You know what I mean? Noob's on that list. Squanchy's on that list. That's pretty much fucking where the list ends as far as we know. You know what I'm saying? Now, so we get to this episode, and Rick and Space Beth are talking about this plan. Rick's like, I got it under control. We're not going to have to do nothing crazy. It's going to be taken care of in 5 minutes. So Space Beth's like, how? He's like, I got a guy named Cisco. Okay. So Beth is like, who the fuck is Cisco, bruh? You know what I mean? And Rick's like, yo, chill, dog. Like, Cisco's my guy. Like, he's never let me down. Like, we don't need a plan because Cisco is the plan. Like he's gonna take care of everything. And Beth keeps questioning, and Rick's like, "Yo, like Cisco don't fuck up." Beth's like, "Well, what happens when he doesn't show up?" He was like, "He is gonna show up because he always shows up." You know what I mean? She's like, "How do you know?" Like, who? She asked the question, "How is this guy Cisco so important? Like, what do I have to do become this important? Who is this important in your life?" Rick responds with Bird Person and Cisco. And Space Beth loses her shit. You know what I mean? As if you know what I mean, as fans, we all know because to be placed on the level of Bird Person is fucking remarkable in the life of Rick Sanchez. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody, according to Rick Sanchez, is on the level of fucking Bird Person. Rick almost died several times saving Bird Person. He's went into the mind of Bird Person and pulled him out, risking both of their lives just to save his life and have a friend. That's how much he loves this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, we have this guy named Cisco. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. When I heard Cisco, I'm thinking Mr. Thong Song himself. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Escape, Enter the Dragon, fucking Drew Hill. Obviously, that's not who it was. Now, we go through this entire fucking episode, though. And during this whole conversation of Cisco's going to come through, what if he doesn't? They're going through this whole concept. Like everything Rick is saying, the exact opposite happens. Oh, no, we're going to be able to go through the back door easy. Nobody's going to sight us because Cisco's going to be there. He's calling Cisco. Nobody's picking up. You see the Federation come in. They get into a fight. He was like, oh, we're not going to have to do no ambush or nothing. Next thing you know, they're being ambushed by the entire Federation. Fucking hilarious. You know what I'm saying? Like the satire of it all was fucking hilarious. Okay. So we go through this entire episode. Boom. Episode's over. Now we get to the post-credit scenes. Post-credit scenes open, and guess who you think is sleeping on the motherfucking couch? Pass the fuck out. None other than the motherfucking my guy Cisco. This is motherfucking Cisco. This is the man who was on the level with Bird Person that Rick was supposed to count on. And he fucking, as you can see, he's just waking up. Motherfucker completely botched the mission, doesn't know what's going on, flipping out. His girlfriend comes in, they start arguing and shit. And little did we know, Cisco's a fucking complete junkie, straight dope addict. And he was on a bender the night before, which is why he forgot. And he goes off on his girlfriend and basically just says, you know what? Fuck it, man. Just gonna go back to doing what I was doing the night before.
It's okay. More drugs?
Yes, please.
and that's how the fucking episode ends, man. So, hey, for the first two episodes of season 8, in my opinion, we have a very great start, man. There's going to be 10 episodes in this season. They've already announced that. The next episode is called The Rick, the Mort, and the Ugly. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens there. Couple fun facts, you know what I'm saying, on these last two episodes. Let's see. On episode 1. So Summer of All Fears, right? So a couple fun facts about that is the title Summer of All Fears. Not only is it the second time that Summer's name is mentioned in the title, but it's the very first time Summer by herself was mentioned in the title. So there's that, you know what I mean? And this last episode, the Volcrick episode, this is actually the very first episode of the series that Rick and Morty have an episode that doesn't mention Morty at all. Like if you go back and watch that episode, Morty was never mentioned in this last episode, which is actually kind of, you know what I'm saying, kind of strange, being that fucking, he's in the title of the fucking show, you know what I'm saying? But Morty wasn't mentioned in this episode for the very first time. Damn, I had something else I wanted to mention, man. Fuck, what was it? Let's see. Shit, I don't know. Let's see. Can't die. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Let's see. So, like I said, next episode we got coming up is the Rick, the Mort, the Ugly. That'll be this Sunday, 11 p.m. Eastern time. So I'll probably have another episode drop Tuesday because let's face it, man, a lot of people on the West Coast, on the East Coast, ain't staying up to 11:30. You know what I mean? Like they're not. So I want to give motherfuckers a chance to watch the episode before I start breaking down the episode. You know what I mean? Gotta get the people a chance to enjoy before it gets spoiled, man. That's just the way I see it. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Oh, there was one more fact. So in this last episode, also, Morty, Summer, Jerry, nor Beth was in this episode or mentioned in the episode. So the entire the entire family was never mentioned. The only ones that were in it was Rick and Space Beth, which we all know Space Beth's a clone, so that don't really count. And being that Morty was never mentioned, now we officially have it to where one character has missed at least one episode entirely in the 8 seasons. So I don't know if that's coincidence or if they did that shit on purpose, but you know what I mean? That's just what it is. So hey, man, appreciate everybody stopping in, man. Appreciate everybody watching, sharing. For those that don't, don't follow me, boom, I got my information so you can follow me. There it is. Hey, man, follow me on Instagram. If you want to follow all my podcasts, all my social media and all that shit, follow me on my main Instagram at NR Originals. If you want to just follow the Rick and Morty shit, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at Rickle Me Pick. YouTube, NR Originals. Twitter, NR_originals. And if you be gaming and shit, man, hey, hit me up on the PS5 because I don't play that Xbox shit. You know what I mean? Follow me on Twitch at NR_originals. Hey, I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Appreciate everybody that shared, repost, like, commented, subscribed, hated, whatever the fuck it is. If you took the time to watch today, man, I appreciate it. We will be back next week. Hey, man, until then, have yourselves a great week. New episode drops on Sunday. I can't wait. We'll see you then, man. Peace.
So you want and or you'll never be. Number 2, not an option. Take a seat.